Okay, so for this job, we need to install a gas cooker. Only thing is, there was an electric cooker before, so we need to run a new gas pipe, and I'm going to be taking it off this boiler here. So what I'm thinking about doing is sweating off that straight, putting a T coming down, and that hopefully should be nice and simple. So if this is your first time watching one of my videos, then it's just going to be a collection of the different jobs I go to as a gas engineer. I've got quite a few different boiler repairs that I've never covered on any other videos before. We've got this gas run like you've just seen. But if you do want to get access to all of my videos, back of the van breakdown, the cheat sheets that I've got in this picture here, a few different wiring diagrams, wiring jobs, then you can go to the link in the description. You can get access to my site. If not, then enjoy the rest of the video. So that's that pipe off now. So what I need to do is I probably need to cut that pipe down because the T makes it a little bit bigger. So I'll cut a little bit of a section off, make sure it fits, and it does. So I fluxed it all up. Now I need to kind of line up how it's going to go down and basically just make a route for the pipe. So I've dropped the pipe down and I basically just started running the pipe. So all of this is fluxed already. So it's elbowed, needs to connect up to that part there, but I thought I'd solder all this first. So that's what I'm about to do now, solder it, and then I'll move on to the next part. Now I'm just going to clean up the pipe, wipe off any excess flux that might be on there from the soldering, and then I can start soldering the next section. I've measured 750 from the floor, works out roughly about here, so I'm going to drill this into the wall, and then I should be able to get my bayonet on. Now using the clips and an elbow, I've marked on that horizontal pipe there where it needs to be cut so I can join the two pipes together. But just before I put it through the wood, I'm going to quickly wrap it in some tape to protect it. So gas safe say that it's unlikely, but what can happen is the chemicals or whatever's in the wood to treat it can corrode the pipe. So for the 20 seconds it takes to quickly wrap the pipe, why not? But that's pretty much it for the gas run. Just need to put the bayonet in, which is as simple as screwing it in, and just wait for the cooker to be delivered. Okay, so for this job we've got an overheating Vaillant on hot water only. Now usually it's either going to be the plate like it was in my most previous video, but sometimes it's also the canoe filter. Now the canoe filter is supposed to be there to stop the plate from getting blocked. It's kind of like a filter for the plate. Now I could not get the canoe filter out no matter what I've done. I've had a few in the past where it's been a bit challenging to get it out, but I've got it out. This one was just super glued in. So what I'll do is I'll be quiet for a second so you can see what it sounds like when you've got a blocked canoe filter or a plate. So you can hear the system sounds quite dirty because it sounds like there's rocks going through the heat exchanger. So let's get this drained down and sorted. So first things first, because this isn't the highest point in the house, I'm going to use an Allen key to isolate the flow and return, and then we can drain down our boiler. As per usual, charge the expansion vessel to push out any excess water. So let's move on to the repair now. So the nice thing about these Vaillants, the older Vaillants anyway, is they've got the water pressure sensor at the bottom. So what you can do is pop the clip out, pop out the water pressure sensor, and you can see if the canoe filter is blocked because that's where the canoe filter is. So I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on camera properly, but this canoe filter is absolutely caked, which is 99% going to be the reason why the boiler is overheating. So what we're going to do is try to get this out. So I've quickly popped off those two copper flow pipes going into this brass unit. Just got 3 screws to undo and it should just pop out. So got my flashlight in there, and you can see light coming through where I popped the hole in it trying to get it out. But if I flip it around, you can see no light coming through at all. So it's clearly blocked. Now just the fun of getting it out. So in terms of taking it out, just going to try use a flathead screwdriver to try pry it out. If it does take too long, then I probably would end up smashing it out. And there you go, finally out. So now I was going to pop a new one in and reassemble the boiler. And while I've got this flow pipe out, I'm just going to crunch it, try to get all this debris out so the boiler can circulate better as well. Okay, so my battery is running low, so I didn't record all of it, but boiler's back together now. Now I need to fire up and see if it works. So pressure's almost on 1.5, and so far we're looking pretty good. So nothing seems to be leaking, it's all dry. But then I start to hear dripping on the floor, and I'm thinking, what? I can't see anything dripping. Look underneath, and the flow valve is leaking. So like a donut, I put paste and a new washer inside the flow valve, but I forgot to tighten it. So I'm going to quickly tighten that now, and then we should be good after that. Now, moment of truth, let's see if the boiler works. And so far we're looking good, doesn't seem to be overheating or cutting out. So what I'm going to do is turn the tap on and off a few times, open all the hot taps in the house to try and get maximum demand and see if it stays on. But it does, so this boiler should be all sorted. We're just a blocked canoe filter. So for this job we're working on a lovely Worcester, and the complaint is the hot water works but the heating doesn't work at all, and when they run the hot taps the heating does slowly start to come on. So it sounds like a classic diverter problem. So let's open the front cover and see what's happening. So first thing I noticed is this little green cover for the diverter isn't on properly. And I think, okay, that's a bit strange. And then I noticed that the motor isn't even on the diverter body properly. It just seems to kind of be in place but not pushed on. So first thing, while this is off, I just want to test that this motor's working. So I'm going to switch between hot water and heating and make sure that this goes up and down. So for heating, seems to be working fine. Let's just test the hot water now. And as you can see, it goes back up, so motor looks perfectly fine. So I pushed the motor back onto the diverter properly now, and right now I'm running the hot tap and just putting my hand on the flow to make sure there's no heat going down the flow. Test it for about 10 minutes, nothing seems to be going down the flow. So I think it was just a simple thing of just pushing the motor back on. Don't know how it came off in the first place, but this job is all sorted now. Okay, now this is a repair I haven't done for quite a long time. So there's a little white seal that goes around the bottom of this heat exchanger if you look at the bottom of this picture here. And sometimes that does just perish, and then what happens is products of combustions leak into the boiler. So if you do your flue integrity, you'll find that you're picking up products of combustions inside the boiler. Unfortunately, to fix this seal, you do have to strip out the entire heat exchanger. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. We're going to be stripping out the heat exchanger, renewing that seal, and then putting it all back together. So far, I've done my safe isolation to the boiler. I've isolated the gas to the boiler as well, drained down the boiler, charged the expansion vessel. Now I'm going to be removing this gas pipe, and then I can then start disconnecting the fan and all the electrical connections. So for these nuts on the heat exchanger, what I like to do is just crack the nut so it's loose a little bit, pull the pipe, and then what that does is it allows air in, and then it just allows any water that was trapped to flow through and then go into the hoover instead of me just yanking off the pipe and it just spilling in the boiler everywhere. So the last thing holding the heat exchanger in place is just these two screws on this bracket. So take out these two screws and then the heat exchanger should be ready to come out. And there you go, see it's loose. All I have to do now is tip it towards me and lift it out. But it is a little bit heavy, so I'm definitely going to be using two hands to take it out. But essentially all you need to do is move it towards you, push it up, and it will just slide out. And there you go, it's out. Now what's strange is this seal looks to be in good shape. Doesn't really seem to be anything wrong with it. Every time I've taken this heat exchanger out for this problem, the seal has been perished. But you can see the product combustion is clearly on the left here. So what I'm going to do is put the new seal on, serve as a heat exchanger while it's out, and just start building it all back together. So I've got my new seal on, and now I need to put this beast of a heat exchanger back into the boiler. So same thing, going to put it in at an angle and kind of just slot it back in. So it's back in now. Now I just have to start doing all my connections. And that's pretty much it. It's all put back together. Just going to turn the power back onto the boiler, fill up, do my safety checks, make sure the boiler's safe to be operating, make sure it's not leaking products of combustions again, and that should be it. Got my boiler on high flame, doing my tests, but we're all good. So for this job, we're working on a Viessman, and the complaint is that the pressure keeps going down. So first thing I done is check the PRV. Was the PRV dripping? Yeah, it was. So probably going to be a flat vessel and a PRV change. So first thing I'm going to do is open up the boiler case so I can get to the PRV and also check if the vessel is flat. So that's the PRV there, which is nice and accessible. So let's check to see if the vessel is flat or is failed. And the vessel has failed. As you can see, water squirting out. So I'm not just going to be able to charge it, I'm going to have to change the expansion vessel. So what I'll do is I'll phone a few shops, see if I can get one locally. But for now, I'm going to isolate the flow and return and pray they don't leak. I don't know why, but I feel like it's such a common thing for these Viessman valves to leak. But they seem to be fine. So now that they're isolated, I'm going to drain down the boiler. So what I do is I just undo the nut a little bit so a little bit of air can get in, and it will allow any water that's in the vessel to come out. So what I also do is get my pump on there, charge all the water out, and then hopefully when I take it out, a whole bunch of water will gush out into the boiler. So for this vessel, we've got 2 screws at the top we need to undo. Now that they're done, I just need to undo this little clamp, and then the vessel should be ready to come out. Now in terms of the PRV, I've got my spanner at the back of the boiler, and I'm just going to push it up, and that will loosen the nut. So now that that nut is off, just have one clip that I need to push out, and once that's out, the PRV should be ready to pop up. So got my new expansion vessel now, and I'm going to put it in the same way I took it out. So put it in at an angle, slide it in, and then the first thing I'm going to do is put the screws in at the top so I know the vessel is in the right place. So now that this band is done, that's the vessel pretty much all done. Now I can focus on doing the PRV. So got a new PRV, got it greased up, just going to pop it into place now, and once that's in place I can put the clip in. And that's it for the repair. So it's going to shut the drain off, unisolate the flow and return, fill up, make sure there's no leaks, and hopefully we're all good. So when I went to fill up, I also noticed that one of the solder elbows was leaking. So I cut that section out, pressed it all together, and now the washing machine is sorted. So now I can just use a filling loop to fill up, and hopefully again, that's it. We don't run into any more unexpected things that need to be repaired. So that's it, pressure's at 1.5, we've got no leaks on the expansion vessel, there's no leaks on the PRV, we are all good. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Going forward, I'm going to try start doing a few different types of new videos. What I'm going to try to do is specifically focus on fault code videos. So for example, I've done ones on F28, F75. I'll try to cover a few more. If there are any specific ones you want me to cover first, let me know in the comments below and I'll do them ones first. But I will see you in the next videos.